Pat, I'm here on the campus of the University of Hartford, and it's here that Keith Brown has been talking about and making LGBTQ history on the radio. And it's here that a member of the class of 22 crossed paths with a longtime radio host and decided to tell his story and that of our community.
Good evening. This is Gay Spirit, a program for the lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans community of the greater Hartford area.
Yes, I'm starting a new project called F from Adam Studios.
It's amazing when you think about 42 years of never missing a radio show every Thursday night. And I think oftentimes he's getting on a bicycle and trudging through whatever it is that's getting in his way to go from the West End over to this campus. That in itself, he's I'd say an unsung hero of our community.
It started with a class we were doing. It's a field production class, and I had everyone go to the archivist and bring the archivist to class, our archivist Sean Park, who works in the building behind me here, and everyone had to pick an area that they wanted to create a short form documentary in, and one of the areas was diversity, equity, and inclusion. And Sean happened to mention, well, you guys should look at Gay Spirit Radio. And Kyle Conti, my teaching assistant, and I were like, what? What's Gay Spirit Radio? And he said it's the longest running radio show in America, and it happens to be taped right downstairs. And the same person has been at the helm since the beginning, and he is right downstairs. So Kyle needed to do his thesis project, and we thought what a great way to bring the story to life and take care of Kyle's thesis and tell everybody about Gay Spirit Radio.
In the 40 plus years he's been doing the show, he hasn't missed a single show when he has either walked or bicycled to the station from his apartment in Hartford, 3 or 4 miles easily. There have been snowstorms when other volunteers either canceled or came in on snowshoes that Keith made it in on his own. The show must go on.
In the film, you'll see the bike wheel kind of spin around and then turn into that reel-to-reel framing, and I thought that this would be kind of a wheel of change, a marker of change that Keith has made in the community. So I think that having that wheel there is just a great marker, and it shows that Keith is just one piece in that puzzle of how the LGBTQ community can kind of get together and be together.
While I am not broke, I am poor and have lived at a certain level below that of normal upper middle class people for the course of my life. If I owned and maintained a car, I would be automobile broke. You don't have to spend any money on gas, high prices for gasoline.
$5 a gallon now.
Yeah, that's what it is now, right? Yeah.
And would you say that you have a message for people who drive cars when they see you on the road?
I can't say it.
The amount of the story's significance on this campus was just amazing, and not being heard is something that we want to bring to light. So I think that it was a great find that we were able to get this, because no one knows about it, and now hopefully a lot of people at UHeart and the community will learn about it as well.
On the Thanksgiving Thursday of 1980, and it is from that point that I date the beginning of the show, Rob Meehan produced and edited on reel-to-reel tape the first few shows that came thereafter. And then before Christmas, he gathered the members of the Gay Spirit Radio Collective together in the Air Studio, which was in Gingras Campus Center on the second floor at that time. And we started to do the show live.
The community response to Gay Spirit has been just incredible over the last 4 decades. We've only had a handful of complaints, and they were really cranks. They were people that just were total homophobes, that no matter how good or bad the show was, they wouldn't have liked it anyways. but the response overall is overwhelmingly positive.
Here in Connecticut, it was still a backwater in some ways for queer people. And that sense of isolation and of being alone was still very prevalent in this state. Keith's inimitable voice, they knew that there was a lifeline out there, that there was a community out there, and they could get information.
It was definitely keeping us in the know of what was going around the community, especially around the early 80s. Beginning of the AIDS crisis and knowing about all these new gay prides that were popping up around the state and getting to know who was in the community that was making a difference.
Let folks know of maybe a tragedy, get information out about a previous pandemic like the HIV and AIDS virus.
Some of my friends who came out of the closet were kicked out of their homes and living on the street and living in their cars.
I remember during the AIDS crisis, which was devastating the state. We were a little bit later than the big cities, but when it hit us hard. Our friends were dying everywhere. And so we did our best at Metroline to get the information out, but in many ways, Gay Spirit Radio reached more people because they were reaching people who weren't comfortable going out to the bars and picking up Metroline. So Gay Spirit went into the homes of people who were isolated and closeted, and it was a lifesaver because these people weren't getting information about how to protect themselves from AIDS.
But Gay Spirit Radio, once it got its start, went on the air continuously without interruption from from Thanksgiving of 1980 forward, every single week without fail.
It is a place to tell our story for a change. And I believe that's similar to the motto that the Gay Spirit Radio lives by. Because again, it was that space that people could come and just really speak their truths. And you heard that from various groups of folks, whether that was social justice advocates, elected leaders, artists, and so many other people around the community to be able to come and just share that story on air and really broadcast that out for folks to hear that message and understand that there were folks who were willing to step up and take that fight on to be able to better support those at home who may not be able to have taken that bold step forward.
Conti's film is the centerpiece of the 35th annual Connecticut LGBTQ Film Festival. It'll make its premiere at Cinestudio, and then you can view it online. In West Hartford, I'm DawnUHAb for Connecticut Voice Out Loud.